Hey guys, and welcome to Car Guy 1999 Reviews at Infinity of Nashua. Today we have the 2017 Chevy Cruze. This is an LS with a 6-speed stick. So, drove this thing because it's been a while since I've driven a stick shift. My daily driver was a Challenger TA 392, sublime green, 6-speed manual. Car's great. Bought a Hellcat, and I couldn't get a stick. So, at least brand new. But this here isn't a performance car. It's a turbo, but it's a 1.4 liter turbo. This car wasn't made for performance, and that's not the reason it's a stick. The reason it's a stick is because it was the cheapest car you could get, which is a little odd if you think about it. This is from an era that, well, actually the end of the era, that cheap cars had stick shifts standard, which is why standard transmission came out. Now, 6-speed manual, actually not that bad of a gearbox. Throws are a little long, but not outrageously so. Do have a backup camera, which was before the mandate. 2019 was the mandate, so that's actually an added feature. But yeah, we've kind of gone away from cars like this. It's few and far between the cars that now come standard with a manual, or at least have the option of getting a manual in a cheap car. I mean, we currently have this thing listed with 45,000 miles for under $15,000. Come on. You know, this would be an absolutely excellent first car for somebody. My first car was an 07 Kia Spectra 5. Had 65,000 miles when I bought it. Put about 10,000 on it in the 3 years I had it. It was a 5-speed stick, and that's what attracted me to it. You know, the car's not fast, but these things right here make these cars fun to drive. Now, in terms of this 1.4 turbo, it doesn't have a lot of power. It really doesn't. Torque, it's pretty good. But I found that winding out this engine, it really doesn't like it too much. Almost all the power is down low. Like, we got good torque. Now we got speed limit. So, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But I find that revving it all the way out to redline is kind of pointless. In terms of clutch feel, it's very light, but it does a good job of pulling itself off the line without worrying about stalling. So it's not too bad. My way of driving stick is kind of release the clutch without throttle. So I've grown up that way. If you want to make noise, you just give it a couple blips like I did in my green car. But theoretically, you don't have to give this thing any gas setting off the line. It's like we're on a hill. I get it to its bite point, and it takes off. That was no gas. You know, so it does a good job of setting itself forward, which makes this a very easy car to learn stick on, because you get it to that bite point where the car starts to move forward. You can be kind of stupid with the clutch, and it doesn't stall. So you can kind of feel the power start to die down around 5,000. That's why, you know, you redline right about 6,500. You don't have to rev this thing out to get the power out of it. First and second gears compared to third, fourth, fifth, sixth are much bigger jumps. So rev match downshifts, you gotta really make sure to give it a good boot of gas. So rolling into power. So it's not bad. It will pull to redline, but you kind of feel that torque start to die down. This is a torquey motor rather than a horsepower motor. Heel toe, If you were to ride the brake, if you gave it a lot of brake, you could do it. The gas pedal's a little too far down to really have heel toe. But if I gave it a good amount of brake, I can make it work. But like I said, this isn't a car that was designed to be a sports car. This is a car that was designed to be cheap. However, a side effect of making it to be cheap is giving it a 6-speed manual and making the car fun. You know, if this was an automatic, I probably wouldn't have driven the thing home. But it was a 6-speed. I wanted to check it out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We had customers that come in, see the car online for the price, and say, oh, it's a manual? No, I don't want a manual. And I shake my head. I'm like, come on. It makes it so much fun. And people are refusing to learn how to drive manual because new cars really don't have them anymore. I mean, you can't get a Hellcat in a stick anymore. And now that we're going to hybrid and electric, and by 2030, I expect manuals to be all but dead. Which is so sad. So sad. If you got a stick shift car, hold on to that thing. Because when I'm 65 years old and I'm looking for a retirement gift, I'm gonna buy a stick shift. I'm gonna buy a ZR1. Or I'll buy a ZR1 next week. You never know with me. Alright, so let's demonstrate the big leaps between first and third. Second. Third, and then they start to be 1,000 RPM gaps. So they're not bad as you get into the higher ratios, but first through third, they're pretty big jumps. But like I said, this thing has so much torque that theoretically you could start in second and be perfectly fine. I'm not sure how this review painted this car. It was kind of just a rant about stick shifts going away. Thank you, Chevy, for keeping this thing around, at least in 2017. I think it's dead now, at least in standard transmission. Thank you for keeping this thing around. You might be able to still get the spark in a stick. You might be able to. The Nissan Versa was another car that came to mind, but this was bigger than those, just ever so slightly. So this kind of competed against the Civic, and I don't know if you can get the Civic in a stick anymore outside of the SI. I know you can't get the Accord anymore, which that's a shame because that was a fun car. This is kind of the end of an era. This is the end of cheap cars, not enthusiast variants, cheap, normal variants having standard transmissions being manuals. What a shame, because that made these cars interesting. That made them fun. I'll forever remember my Kia because it was a stick. And also because it was my first car, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. These cars were fun. This car's great because of the 6-speed. Automatic is okay. It's not a bad car, but this makes this car stick in my memory. Haha, I didn't even mean that. None of you guys watch the endings anyway. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. See y'all in the next one.